You're like a lawyer being asked to wait in line. As it turned out, I almost needed a shoehorn to get him in the 4x4, but he did fit. Back at the farm, Maggie helped me unload him.
Well, he's the size of a small horse. Where did he come from?
I told her the story.
You got him for $25? Oh, my goodness. This must be Floyd McLean's ram.
Floyd McLean?
Floyd McLean farmed in Demeter Township. He had a problem with his nerves. They had him up in Penetang for a while trying to calm him down. The experts had a theory that the color pink was good for violent people, and they had the whole room and everything in it painted pink. When Floyd came back, he was all right, as long as he took his medication, but he always had a problem with the color pink after that.
And what happened to him?
He had another attack in April. Easter was a difficult time for him. They put him back in the pink room.
And it didn't work?
Well, I guess not. They say he put his head right through the wall. Anyway, he never came out. And the night he died, this ram was born. Folks up in Demeter believe Floyd's soul passed into the ram. And now nobody will touch it. They even named it after him. Pink Floyd.
The phone rang and Maggie went inside to answer. Can you believe this, Ed? The reason I get this splendid animal for next to nothing is that people believe it's possessed by the spirit of its owner. Put my hand under his chin and guided him towards the barn. He came peacefully. I bumped open the stable door, let him into the main pen. He blinked a couple of times, started chewing his cud. He wasn't hard to manage at all. I went hunting for a couple of sheep gates to make him a little pen. Of course, what we're dealing with here is an evil eye culture. People up here have all these superstitious beliefs dating back hundreds of years. Some of them make sense. For instance, don't plant until the frogs sing 3 times. That actually works. But there are others. For instance, if you leave new shoes on the table, or dream about a birth, or plow down snow, these all mean certain death. Well, these are obviously loony, like this business with the ram. What perplexes me is that people up here make no attempt to distinguish between taboos against things which are genuinely dangerous and the ones against things which are utterly harmless. At the hospital, I was treated for a concussion and something with a Latin name, which actually just means a pain in the butt. When I woke up, the squire was sitting beside the bed.
How are you now, Walt? I brought you some stuff.
I was expecting him to hand me a newspaper and some of those Western novels he reads. Instead, he opened up a cardboard box and reached into it.
This here little fan is for when the sun comes round to the west. Gets stinking hot in here. And a fly swatter, bad for flies in the evening. And a school bell in case you ever need a nurse.
Well, there's a buzzer for that right here.
That's not hooked up to nothing. And some cigarettes.
Well, I don't smoke.
Neither do I. No, they're for when the school bell doesn't work. You light up one of these, you get nurses coming from all directions.
Well, thanks, but how do you know all this? Have you been in here a lot?
I just come in for the usual, plugs, points, and condenser. At my age, I kind of past the warranty.
There was a familiar rustle at the door, and Maggie breezed into the room and sat down on the other side of the bed.
Hello, dear. I brought you some flowers.
I'll push along now, Walt, and remember, rule number 1 for the shepherd, never turn your back on a ram.
So, how is Pink Floyd?
Oh, he's all right. I decided to start training him. I left your overalls with that pink handkerchief sticking out of the pocket, hanging on the concrete gatepost. He's having a sleep now. Are you feeling better, dear?
Oh, I'm all right. Do you know the Squire's a regular patient here?
Just the past couple of years, he gets run down from time to time. None of us last forever, Walt.
I know that. I guess that's why I want to have this museum. It would help keep things from disappearing completely, At least we'd have some kind of permanent record.
Well, you may have a permanent record of your encounter with Floyd. When we brought you in here, I noticed you had one of your antacid tablets in your overalls pocket where Floyd hit you. It looks like it's tattooed. You can actually read it.
Well, what does it say?
Well, of course, it's backwards, Walt. It says, smut. It makes it look like I married a biker.
Yours sincerely, Walt. Dear Ed, Maggie's gone for a couple of days to move her aunt into a chronic care hospital in Barrie. I decided to spend the time seeing what the township council had to say about my museum proposal. I called the township clerk, got a spot on the agenda for the regular monthly meeting last Thursday. Since Maggie had the 4x4, I borrowed Freddie's truck for the drive. The council is housed in the old Hollyhock schoolhouse. I got there at 8 o'clock, let myself in the side door, over which, embossed in the brick, were the words, boys' entrance. Some wag had painted in front of the inscription the word old. There they all were in exactly the same position I'd last seen them 2 years ago. The Reeve, wearing his 30-pound chain of office, sat at the center of the table. On his right sat the deputy Reeve, the other councillors on his left. The clerk sat at a separate table and prompted the Reeve through the agenda. It crossed my mind, we had the makings of a museum right here. The clerk was starting up the machinery of government.
Your worship?
We have 2 applications for permits on the conservation area picnic ground. The first is from the Persephone Animal Rights Action Committee. You had something to say about this, Ernie?
I'm agin it. Last time I went for my wolf bounty check, I had to cross their picket line. They spattered me with animal blood. Called me names.
What's the other one, Harold? It's for the Larkspur Rod and Gun Club Barbecue. Your worship? Wilfred?
Geez, they're just as bad. I had to cross their picket line when I went to register my 12 gauge. When I came out, my car windshield was soaked.